All right, nerds. So we've now already talked about the organization into systems and organ systems and then the whole organism. So now we'll spend the rest of this topic pretty much looking at specific individual systems. So today we're going to look at the digestive system. Now, what's the point? You want to understand the concept of digestion. What does it actually mean? You want to be able to recognize and label different organs of the human/mammalian digestive system. Interesting quirk of evolution, and a big chunk of evidence for evolution, is that essentially all mammals have the same digestive system, and you can see where they've broken off and it's changed bits. Like it varies, but you don't really get many new organs appearing or disappearing. In class, we will tabulate the functions of different organs in the digestive system. Like we might talk about them a little bit here, but that's mostly for class. All right, so let's go. So what do I need you to remember? I need you to remember that cells are still going on, require nutrients and a method basically to get rid of the byproducts, which is largely nitrogenous waste, which we turn into urine, or carbon dioxide, or carbon products, which we'll see. Organization goes from cells to tissue, so groups of cells. Groups of tissues become organs, groups of organs become systems, and groups of systems can make a whole organism. So this is just, here we go, we're back. So digestion. What actually is digestion? It's the process essentially of breaking down food to its constituent components. And this means it's smaller components that make it up, that are useful to the body. So things like sugars, things like nitrogens, and so forth. Now, digestion can be done one of two ways, and in fact, it's not done one of two ways, it is done both of two ways. And we'll see that in a second. And those are mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. And we as mammals, we need both. So let's have a quick look. What we have here is we have ingestion. This is where the food goes in. This is the mouth. Now you see mouth to anus. This is essentially an external environment. And you'll see that at no point along here is it really connected to the... It's connected, it's there, but it's not... It's an empty tube, essentially, which all of our food passes through. So one way to look at it is that essentially humans are a meat donut. So you've got the outside stuff and all the flesh lives in the body of the donut, but you could thin a person out to its mouth and anus and you could have a meat donut. So that's worth thinking about. We'll talk more about that in class. So you've got an entry hole and an exit hole, and in between it just kind of, well, not, it breaks food down and drops it into the body. We'll in more detail in a second. But yeah, so it's another external environment to your body. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask them in class. Okay, so food goes into the mouth through ingestion. You chew it up. This is mechanical digestion, okay? So you mechanically break it down. You physically rip it apart and break it down. So as you chew it with your mouth, you churn it with your stomach churns it around, and you segment it. You break it apart even further in your small intestine. Okay, so it goes into the mouth, down the pharynx and the esophagus, and this is propulsion. So in swallowing, we actually push it down, and that's called peristalsis. So peristalsis in the esophagus, which is what this long tube is where it's moved down. And this is why we can swallow upside down, because it's actually a muscle that's pushing it down. This also aids in the mechanical digestion. So then it hits the stomach. So in the mouth actually, you secrete enzymes that break it down. They're particularly enzymes for breaking down starches into smaller sugars, okay? Then we come down here and it hits essentially acid, okay? And then it gets quite basic down here, okay? So this is the chemical digestion. So it gets broken down even further using chemicals, acids, enzymes. And then all the way along here, it's absorbed. So it gets absorbed into the bloodstream. The nutrients, different nutrients come out at different points. Okay, so they get absorbed out of these at different points and taken into the bloodstream. And then you have defecation. This is an elimination of indigestible stuff. So that's what your feces are. and the rest of it is urination and respiration, which we'll talk about both of those later on. So defecation, that's actually the stuff that your body can't break down because it doesn't come from the outside, sorry, from your body into the digestive system. It never left the digestive system. All right. So here we go. These are the key organs for the digestive system. Okay. So we've got the tongue up here, the pharynx, and the salivary gland, and that's what produces some enzymes in there. You go down to the esophagus here, you hit the stomach. The liver over here is used for filtering. It's a filter. That's why all these people who tell you this nonsense about detox diets, the reason they're nonsense is because your body has an excellent detoxing system right here. And if this isn't doing the job, you're probably about to die. So you don't, like all those detox ideas, they're nonsense. And the reason is we have a part of our body, a couple of parts of our body that actually does the detoxing for us. The pancreas produces insulin, which helps moderate the levels of sugar which go into our bloodstream. And then we hit the digestive system here, which we'll go more into it. Sorry, the intestines and colon and all this stuff, which we'll go into in class. And it goes right down, follows all the way through out to the anus. So yeah, so that's the digestive system, and we'll go further into that in class. And yeah, see you there.